Today I'm going to show you how to make the most incredible Neapolitan style pizza right at home. And the best part, I'm going to be making it in a real pizza oven, the Alfa Forni to Pizze. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Impossibly Kosher. If you've seen this channel before, you know that I'm all about making things from scratch and in the most authentic way possible. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due to Vito Jacopelli. I learned from his videos, and I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. I learned how to make pizza basically from his videos. So we're going to start with the most critical parameter. The first thing you want to start off with is the POOLISH. The POOLISH is a pre-ferment. It's going to help you get to that incredible texture and flavor that you want in your pizza. And why making a POOLISH is so incredible, you can make it the night before you want to make pizza instead of having it go for 3-4 days. But with trial and error, I figured out that actually leaving it longer makes it much, much better. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing we do is we get a bowl and measure out 300 ml or 300 grams of water. We add about a teaspoon or 5 grams of active dry yeast. You can use fresh yeast, whatever you want, and a little bit of sugar. Usually a teaspoon is good enough. I like to use honey or brown sugar and then mix it up. The yeast will start to feed on the sugar and expand much better. And make sure that the water is warm or room temperature, not too hot. That will help get the yeast activated much faster. Now that we have everything mixed up, we're going to leave it for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, you'll start to see bubbling. Let's tear the scale again. And we're going to add a 1-to-1 ratio of flour for the water we added. So we had 300 ml or 300 grams of water. Now we add in 300 grams of flour. Get a whisk or a fork, whatever you want, and just mix it up so that everything is well and incorporated. You don't need to go crazy with this. Cover it with plastic wrap and with a cover and leave it on the counter for 1 to 2 hours. After about an hour and a half, it'll look like this. And that's perfect. If you want a little bit deeper flavor, you can leave it overnight in the fridge and then form the dough balls the next morning. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. All right, next morning, this is what it should look like. It should look very jiggly and extremely airy. See that? Just jiggles around. Back onto the scale. And depending on how many pizzas you're going to be making, you do the calculation and you start adding in a little bit of water to help break it apart. Take a look in the description section. I'll leave the formula for you to figure out how many pizzas you want to make with the percentage of hydration. So the way I'm calculating how much water and flour I'm actually going to need is first, you start with your total weight. Here you can see we add in 251. So I was a little bit over, but it's not the end of the world. A slightly higher hydration. Now you mix it gently just so that it can become like a milky color. And there goes in the 319-ish grams of flour that we need. Give it a nice mix and then add in the balance of whatever flour you need. Add 3% of the total amount of flour that you were adding. So in our case, it was 833 grams. So 3% of that for salt. Mix it in. I got tired of mixing by hand, so I decided just to get it in my stand mixer. This will go much smoother. Get the hook on low, let it mix. And now don't touch it. Let it mix for about 10 to 15 minutes until it's nice and homogeneous. Don't add water, don't add flour. The formula is perfect. There we go. 10 minutes later. Now, doesn't that look a little too sticky? That looks like if I put my hands in it, it's going to stick like crazy. So get it off. Let's get it onto the clean counter. And you see, just like predicted, see how sticky that is? So I'm going to show you a trick that Vito shows. Just give it a cover and let the gluten relax. Come back in 15 minutes and you'll see the difference, how easily it's going to be to manipulate. 15 minutes later, put a little olive oil on our hands and scrape from the sides. Don't rip it off. Here we go. And you put it down. Then up and down. And you keep smacking it and folding it on itself until you form a nice ball. And you see, that's a smooth dough ball. That's just perfect. Get it back into a clean bowl. Cover. Now you leave it for about 2 hours on the counter so that it can expand. Guys, if you're liking this video so far, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comment section also. And here you can see the fermentation is all inside there. This is going to be incredible. So we got my tray, we got the big dough, we got our scale, and you're going to want to start by keeping the top on the top. So you see how soft that is? It's very delicate. It's full of air. Plop it down, and now start measuring. 275 grams per dough ball. And the dough ball you form by pushing it into itself, into the back, and you just keep going on all of them. There we go. Now tap the top with a little bit of olive oil, the sides as well, so that if they touch, they won't stick as much. Cover it and let it sit. Now here's the point where it depends when you want to eat your pizzas. If you don't mind waiting a day or two, I'd suggest putting it in the fridge for 1 to 3 days to start getting a beautiful, rich flavor in that pizza. It ferments, it forms more bubbles, it becomes much lighter. If you don't have time for that, no worries. You can just leave it 3-4 hours and make it the same evening. That's why this pizza recipe is perfect. Within 24 hours, you can be making pizza. But if you want a deeper flavor, leave it 1 to 3 days. Anyways, 2 days later, I'm making the pizzas, and I'm going to be making them, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, on my Alfa Forni 2 Pizze pizza oven. I got the red one. I absolutely love it. It has authentic brick stones, which retain heat incredibly. Now, if you go through their website, you'll see all the benefits of Alfa versus other companies. But what I really like is that it's designed in Italy. It's made in Italy. It is a more expensive unit, but it is built to last forever. And once you get it heated up, and you'll see that it's a little bit dirty. That's because I've tested it out. And a pizza oven without any stains on it is questionable if it's actually a real pizza oven. Anyways, so this is a gas one, and we're going to get started on how to use it. First things first, you get the chimney on the top. Easy setup. Then we scrape off any of that old residue or ashes that's left over from old cooks. Scrape off the ashes to the side. Get a Kleenex or a wet towel, wipe it down, and get it out, or a vacuum. Next thing is your propane. We turn on the gas, and before we did, I'm just going to show you guys how to set it up here in North America. So here is where it connects with this little guy. This corner piece comes with the Alfa. This piece does not. So I went to a Home Depot. I got this extender. I got this tape there. I don't know what any of this is called. Sorry guys, for the experts, leave it in the comments. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. And I attached them together. Because it was a male and a male, I needed a female and female to connect the two pipes properly. And that tape will stop the gas leaking. Guys, I learned the hard way. Then you have direct access into the propane. This is just a gauge that I have to tell me when it's full or empty. So, open it up. Okay, see, plenty of gas. Here, you want to hold this. The gas will start. All right, hear that? Lighter. There we go. We have flames. Now you want to hold it for maybe 30-40 seconds, not even. After you hold it enough, it's been probed or primed enough, it's on. We can turn it on high. There you go. Beautiful. Now you'll have a nice blue flame. When it's nice and blue, it means that it's full blasted. I don't know if you guys can really see that. There we go. So a yellow flame means that it's not as hot. Now we have a lot of air flow coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and close this while it preheats for at least 30 to 40 minutes to get those stones nice and hot. So these are fire brick. They take a long time to actually come up to temp and a long time to cool down. So you're going to want to give it that time, at least 45 minutes to come up to temp. Otherwise, you're going to be getting a pizza that's stuck. And then here you have the two nodes, low temp, high temp, and play with it in the middle. But like I said, we're going to get this cover on. And we're going to let it come up to temp. Are you a fan so far of this video? Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell because I have tons of more authentic videos coming out. Got any comments or questions? Let me know in the comment section. All right, now that the pizza oven is heating up, it's time to prepare everything we're going to need for making the pizzas. First things first, I like to mix semolina with some flour to get a nice little texture at the bottom without burning the dough. Then I'm using my homemade tomato sauce. I like to make this from scratch. It changes the taste completely. If you're not in the mood to make homemade tomato sauce, no problem. Just take a can of whole tomatoes, blend it up with a little bit of salt, a drop of pepper, and a bit of olive oil. Blend it even in the can, and it will be delicious. I got my Parmigiano Reggiano, some fresh mozzarella, my olive oil, salt, and I'm ready to go. By the way, guys, this is the Alfa 2 Pizze. It fits pretty much 2 pizzas in there. I find this to be the perfect size. I was really debating between the 2 and the 3. I think the 3 would have been a little bit too big, because I just make 1 or 2 pizzas max at a time. By the time you have to make the second, the first one's already done, unless you're cooking them, you know, like side by side, which I had a couple days ago. But in this case, when you're not doing them side by side, 1, 2 max, I would recommend the 2 Pizze. Anyways, so you can see it's reading at 500 Celsius, almost 1,000 Fahrenheit. That's the temperature in the chamber. It's been going for about 40 minutes now. So the stone should be nice and hot. I'm going to be opening this up, and we're now going to let it go for just a little bit longer as we prepare our first pizza. So let's get started. We'll start with our first one. Trick is use a scraper, a bench scraper. I'm going to go with this one first. Put a little bit of flour in between. Cut, and then do it in one nice scoop. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And quick into the flour. So right away, the feel is very, very soft. You want to push it into the flour, flip it without touching the crust area. For me, I don't like too much of a crust. If you see a little bubble like this, you just pop it. Now, bring it onto our bench. 3 ways of stretching. Number 1 is the hardest way, which is you put your hand like this, put it over, flip it, pull, over, flip, until you get a good circumference. Second way is like this, where you stretch it like that. Best way for me, at least, is putting it on your knuckles and letting gravity kind of pull it. So you stretch, and look, see? You don't want it to have any holes. Perfect. So what we do in this case, because that's going to stick, we're going to put a little bit more flour just to cover that area, because if that sticks onto the peel, it's going to be no fun getting it off into the oven. After stretching it, put it over your hand, wipe away excess flour, put it down. Now with the sauce, you don't want to lay it heavy. Really, a lot of people, they like to put tons and tons of sauce, but that's actually going to just weigh it down. You want to start in the middle, work your way around, stretch it thin. You want just enough to cover all the dough, that it has a little taste, because otherwise it ends up too watery. Go a little further so you'll have a nice crust, but not too much, because you want also this sauce. Then, is it grana padano, or grana padano? Let me know in the comments. Either way, I know that this one comes from cow's milk, and Parmigiano Reggiano comes from goat's milk, I think. Guys, if I'm talking nonsense, let me know in the comment section. Now this is the fresh mozzarella. It's a low moisture mozzarella, so again, it won't leak too much moisture into the dough. That's why, like in Neapolitan pizza, you'll see high moisture. Just crack a little bit of salt, just a little bit, and extra virgin olive oil. That's it. Now we get it on the peel. What I like to do as a precaution, I learned the hard way, guys. Just to do it like that. Lift it up. Just the end. And 1, 2. Okay. And if you can move it, it's gonna slide right off. So let's go to the oven. Same story as when you got it on. You get it to the back, and you got to move in fast motions. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Oh shoot, the gas went out. All right, what ended up happening was the tank was dead. That's why, guys, it's important to put 2 tanks so you can quickly jump into action. Anyways, pizza's starting to cook. And also that's why it helps to have already preheated oven. So don't go too far, because within just a couple of seconds, maybe a minute, there we go, you can see it's bubbling, and you're gonna have to turn it. All right, it's time to rotate it. Now, because I'm one-handed here, it's a bit hard, but see, what you do is you take the turning peel, put it all over, go under, there you go. You lift it a bit and turn. You want to keep it in the same spot, and just 90 degrees. There we go. Now, if you put it in another spot, the heat that's over there is much hotter, or in the other spots, than where it's actually sitting. So you may actually burn the dough and end up with, well, obviously not a great result. So 30 more seconds, and we rotate it again. All right, guys, normal people will not show this to you, but I have a dilemma. Because the fire went out, it cooled down the stove a little bit. Now, if I leave it any longer, see, I'm turning it, but if I leave it any longer, I risk all that cheese burning. The bottom is cooked, but the sides, you see it's brown, but not spotted. But doesn't matter, I don't want to ruin it. And here's the end result. Now we want to get it on a cooling rack as quickly as possible so that it doesn't create condensation underneath. And there we go. I had to put it onto the peel in the end because I was scared it was going to fall. Listen to that crunch. Ready? That's nice. We're going to let it cool down just for 30 seconds on the cooling rack, and then onto the little tray it goes. I'm going to make the next one. And now that we made one, we got to make the rest. Dough, sauce, Parmigiano Reggiano, fresh mozzarella, a little bit of salt and olive oil, and out it goes. Here's number 2. The oven is properly running and it's launched. Remember, quick movements. You want to put it in and pull the peel right out. 90 seconds later of turning, and look at that beautiful pie. Perfect color on the outside, perfect, incredible cheesy color that we love. And you let it cool for 30 seconds, you slice into it, and then you enjoy. And the final thing, let's do the taste test. Let's take a quick bite. The sauce has a sweetness of fresh tomato, unbelievable. Fresh mozzarella, really, really good. Vibrant, light flavor. And the bread, airy, very delicious. If you can, I would definitely suggest letting it proof overnight in the fridge. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and enjoy. Subscribe if you wanna see more content. Hope you like this video. Give it a big thumbs up. Let me know what I did wrong in the comment section as always. And I'll see you in the next video.